In this video we will be leaving Blackall there and travelling to Blackall for a left turn to Longreach. Distance is only about 212 kilometres, so it's fairly short leg, this one. This is leg number 5 of my trip around the outback of New South Wales and Queensland. After an interesting time in Blackall, it is time to hit the road for Longreach. This leg is not long, only about 210 kilometres. We are on the Landsborough Highway, which is also called the Matilda Way. The reason will become obvious later in the next video. The white sign coming up is telling us that the road to Blackall is open. These signs are common throughout Western Queensland. These roads can be subject to serious flooding and closure. The incredible rolling plains of Western Queensland. This is black soil country. The rolling plains seem never ending. The soil is very fertile with a high carbon content, and when it rains the grass grows rapidly. Looking at the amount of grass on the road reserve, they appear to have had a very good season. The dried grass is a high quality feed for livestock. The main livestock in this area are sheep and cattle. Cattle are probably increasing their numbers compared to the sheep. The population of Longreach is a little under 4,000 people. The motel where I am staying, it is close to town and to attractions. The local council has built a shady walkway which runs for kilometres. It makes for an easy walk along the side of the Landsborough Highway. I am now walking out to the Stockmans Hall of Fame and the Outback Heritage Centre. A story about Cattle King, Sydney Kidman and Anna Creek Station, the largest working cattle station in the world. Tyson's Tinnaburra Station had a wool shed with 101 stands, making it in 1901 the largest in Australia. In 1918 they were shearing 3,000 sheep a day with 40 shearers. Imagine what it would have been like at its peak. Here we have a whip making demonstration.
How long does it take you to make a whip?
These ones I can get 2 or 3 done a day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but I work on quality, not quantity. But from this stage where I start plating it from here, it's roughly an hour.
Right.
So I'll plat it down.
See the impressive results with the braiding on the handles. These tracks were used as droving tracks for moving stock to market, some as far as Adelaide. The Birdsville track is 517 kilometres long between Birdsville in Queensland and Mara in South Australia. The track traverses 3 deserts. The Strzelecki track from Lyndhurst to Indominka in South Australia was pioneered by cattle duffer or rustler Harry Redford. Redford's exploits sometimes appear in Australian literature. An old wagon loaded with wool bales. Probably an Afghan hawker and his camel. On another walk this time to the Qantas Founders Museum and to have a close look at some old Qantas aircraft.
No, must have noted the boards on this bridge. What's sooner my board is now to get out of bed.
In the early days of Qantas, this hangar was built in 1922. The plane is a replica of a giant Moth 1 or 2 owned by Qantas. The plane was built by de Havilland and equipped with either a 450 or 500 horsepower engine. It could carry 8 passengers. The craft were retired in 1935. Qantas operated as Catalina PBY during the 1950s. During wartime it flew secret missions to Sri Lanka through enemy patrolled airspace. Flight time was 28 hours one way. This was a Douglas C-47 military version of a DC-3, but converted back to a DC-3 for civilian use in 1945. It carried 28 passengers in relative comfort. The Lockheed Constellation was the last of the piston-engine airliners. Used on the Kangaroo route from 1954 to 1962, only 8 years, the Connie was replaced by the Boeing 707. The 707 was a portent of the jet era. It halved travelling times. The famous jumbo jet. It is complex. No wonder it took 2 pilots and a flight engineer to operate the plane. In its working life, this one carried 5.4 million passengers, travelled 82.54 million kilometres, or the equivalent to 10 years of continuous flying. I am always amazed at the complexity and the strength of the landing gear. Yes, it is equipped with an ABS braking system. To the left or inboard is another engine. This engine is in a transport position ready to be moved to another maintenance facility. We are now in the indoor section of the museum, showing the development of the jet engine. In the foreground is a Pratt & Whitney engine. Where I am moving to is a Rolls-Royce jet engine. The weight of this engine is 7 tonnes and more. A Pratt & Whitney 14-cylinder radial piston engine. There are 2 rows of 7 cylinders. A replica of an Avro 504 aircraft, QANTAS' first plane. It carried 3 people, but with only 100 horsepower engine, it was grossly underpowered. Luxury in the upper deck of a jumbo. A flight simulator, where you can try your hand at flying and can crash safely. There are at least 66 streets in Longreach. All are named after birds except 2. These 2 are named after the destination town. Land bird names are used for north-south streets and water bird names for the east-west streets. Longreach got its name from a long deep waterhole of the Thompson River, where in the droving days stock could be watered, hence Longreach. Time to leave Longreach and head for Winton. After seeing so much flat country, we must stop and shoot some footage of interesting landforms. These hills are remnants of an ancient seabed where the land has eroded away and left the harder rock. Back on the road after a stop at the Crawford Creek rest stop. We are 46 kilometres from Winton. There is grass everywhere. The roads are generally pretty good and no problem for the bike. A caravaner asked how I was handling the roads and I could answer only with no problems. From the caravaner's point of view, some of the rough bits cause the caravan to rock and tend to lift the back of the towing vehicle. This can cause loss of control. Later in the trip I did see where a caravaner had lost control and ended up off the road. But I think generally speaking, if you watch for the rough bits and travel at a sensible speed, you don't really have any problems. The speed limit here on this road, as with most Outback roads, is 110 kilometres per hour. I'm travelling at close to that speed right now. 40 kilometres to Winton. Before we get to Winton, we'll turn off to the Australian Age of Dinosaurs Museum at the Jumper to learn about some amazing dinosaurs. However, more about them in the next video. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.